Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of SportsView on nearmedia.tv. Good evening, Derwynne Honan.
Hey, Pat, how are you?
So tonight it's Derwynne and myself against the world and all the interlopers and the pretenders. And we cover the usual.
Duo.
Yeah, indeed. We cover the usual suspects. Soccer, rugby, and golf, and whatever. We might get onto something else as well. But over the weekend, we had, and by the way, press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel. And thank you to all the people who've done it so far. It's very much appreciated. In the Premiership cross channel over the weekend, of course, I'm cross channel. I mentioned that because I'm in Ireland and Derwynne is in England, in Wembley. And I'm seeing cross channel from my point of view. The Premiership, there was wins for Newcastle, Bournemouth, Spurs, Villa, and Liverpool. And our good friend VAR came into focus again over the weekend. I saw a lot of soccer. I saw a lot of golf over the weekend as well, and some rugby as well. Anyway, the championship is getting very excited, and there seem to be 3 teams locked together for the 2 automatic positions in the early games of the weekend, because they've played 2 games since we were on air last. That's the championship. Ipswich Town beat Blackburn 1-0 and Leeds drew with Watford 2-2. And then in the other game, Leicester City beat Norwich 3-1. Ipswich Town beat Southampton 3-2 and Leeds beat Hull 3-1. So at the top of the championship, Ipswich are on 87 points, Leeds are on 86, Leicester are on 85. So that is tight. But you see much soccer over the weekend there?
Yeah, I watched a bit and listened to it a bit on the radio and stuff like that. But
I forgot to mention, Man United drew 1-1 with Brentford. There was an offside decision given in one of the goals, and my son and myself were watching. His toe of his boot was offside.
It goes back to what I said last week when I said about the Alan Lamb thing with the cricket. It's getting to me. It's now getting. You know, when years ago they used to have it was a gap between the forward and the defender, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That to me is clear, understandable, and offside. When you start saying, it's like the time I said to you that it was the tip of his finger was offside.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about the tip of his toe being offside. I can't believe that VAR can be that accurate, and the lines that they draw surely depend on the thickness of the line.
That's a fair point. I noticed that myself as well over the weekend, but it's bringing the game into disrepute in the Premiership anyway, you know, because they have no VAR in the Championship, and they have no VAR in the Championship, and there are no huge headlines any weekend about the matches, Derwynne. None.
Well, it's the same with the FA Cup, isn't it? When you play the Championship or the First Division or Second Division teams, teams, there's no VAR involved. Yet you could have Liverpool play Man United.
Well,
that's the bit I don't understand.
Yeah, I saw most of the Liverpool game over the weekend. I think I saw it all, did I? Not too sure now. But to me, watching Liverpool, I thought Núñez and Diaz. I know it's probably a silly thing to say. Núñez and Diaz, I thought, were, what's the word I'd use? 2 instinctive, natural soccer players. In other words, they display skills that you cannot find in the training ground. You have those already within you as a player. You know those 2 players.
It's fair, isn't it?
Yes, you know that they can do things that no other player can do. You know, and the same. That's why I like watching people like that. You know, well, they beat Brighton 2-1, but it was a more comprehensive. I thought it was more comprehensive than the scoreline suggested on Liverpool's part.
They were never going to lose, were they?
No. They never looked like it. You know, Kelleher, I must say, a fellow Corkman, he was good in goals. You know, for what he did. He equipped himself very well. But I think I don't know will Liverpool will they win the league, but certainly Arsenal have a match during the week now against Luton Town, and I think that's 3 points for them. Arsenal have. But there's a few Premiership matches on tonight as we're on air on Tuesday, the 2nd of April, and I was looking at them there early on, And at the moment, Newcastle are leading Everton 1-0. Nottingham Forest are leading Fulham 2-0. And Bournemouth and Crystal Palace are 0-0. And Burnley and Wolves are 0-0. That's the Premiership matches that are on air as we're on air ourselves, But I don't know. What do you think, Derwynne? Do you think Liverpool are they looked very solid to me? I know they were playing Brighton, wouldn't be.
I think they are solid, but I just can't see. I can't see past City all the time. He could put two teams out in the Premier League and they'd be first and second, wouldn't they?
I noticed that Netflix have a documentary out on Man City, what I call a PR documentary for the club. That's what I call it myself, It's pure propaganda.
I don't know if you've seen the BBC one about Guardiola.
No?
That's worth watching. That's on iPlayer.
Yeah.
It basically tracks him from when he stopped playing football. And how he was the coach of the reserve team and the junior team at Barcelona, and how I think it was Bobby Robson that dragged him along, really.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to watch because he basically has copied a Barcelona format and taken it to extremes, I think. But it's hard to see. I mean, I there's part of me that would like to see Man City lose and maybe Arsenal win it. And there's another part of me that just goes, I just can't see Man City ever lose a game.
They're a very good team. We've acknowledged that they're a very good team, very good soccer team, and they are favourites to win it. I mean, there's no doubt about that, But and we're running out of games and running out of space and time now to maybe call in some other team to win it. I don't know. They are favourites to win it. You're right there, And for the game itself, yeah,
it's the depth he's got, isn't it? I mean, whoever he pulls in is an international, and whoever he pulls in is probably one of the leading lights in that international team.
Mm-hmm.
He takes Silva off and puts De Bruyne on.
Yeah, but even if they were plagued with bad luck and injuries, like 3 or 4 injuries, I don't think it will affect them that much.
No, because like I said, he could put 2 teams out in the Premier League, couldn't he?
Now, Mason Mount scored for your team over the weekend, Man United.
Yeah, they were poor against Brentford, weren't they?
Yeah, but it was a poor match.
Yeah.
Very poor game, and really you can. I mean, I think they're punching above their weight in the Premiership, though, where they're placed.
As in United.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're mid-table team, really.
Yeah, I think they're doing very well points wise. They're doing very well. And the championship is hotting up, and obviously it is between Ipswich, Leeds, and Leicester. What 2 of those teams will go up automatically to the Premiership, and it's very, very difficult now to pick any one of them to go up. Because Ipswich looks strong, Leeds looks strong, and Leicester looks strong. And even if the 3 of them manage to go up, I think they'll equip themselves very well. If those 3 go.
I think Ipswich have done well, haven't they?
They have.
They've bought well. They've done the right things all the way through, haven't they?
The tractor boys again in the Premiership. It's been a long time since they were there.
No, I think it'd be good to have them back in there.
Yeah, the old are they still in Portman Road?
I think they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Another one of the historical grounds in soccer is this, Portman Road. John Walk, was that the man I remember? John Walk, was he a very good?
Walk, yeah. Mick
Yeah, he
Mills.
was. Yeah, they were good ones.
Well, when you think about when Bobby Robson was manager, I mean,
Yeah,
they were a proper team, weren't they?
they were. Yeah, they were a fantastic team. Fantastic team.
It's interesting when you look back on football because you think about Ipswich, Forest,
Leeds.
yeah, there's been periods of time when they've dominated really,
Yeah,
and then there's equal solution every time, isn't it? Finances.
yeah. And you have Southampton now who made a good run at this year in the championship. You know, they've been down for a while. Southampton, they're on 74 points. They have the other teams have 2 matches more played than they have, so they're in with a real shout of the. Well, they'll certainly be in the playoffs anyway. There's no doubt about Southampton being in the playoffs, and the same with West Brom, and Norwich City have overtaken them, even though they were beaten 3-1. They're still in sixth place, so they're in the playoff position. You know, that's Norwich City. So it's going to be tough. Now, we were talking last week, and this is a bit of fun for Joe, Derwynne, and myself. A team that caught her a quirky team with a quirky name. Derwynne, you probably wouldn't be familiar with them. I don't think anybody looking at this program might be familiar with them. But after tonight, you'll get to know Bonnie Rig Rose. Now, I'll just bring up their Bonnie Rig Rose. There's their 1881 club was founded. It was a junior club in Scotland, in the second division of Scotland. And Bonnie Rig is a town just 8 miles from Edinburgh. The capacity of their ground is 2,600. I was looking this up today. You know, we'll contact someone from the club anyway, and we might have them on the program some night for the laugh. But it took them a while to get a breakthrough from junior soccer into the second division in Scotland, but they made it in there in 2021 season. They're there since, and they're in eighth position in the league with 31 points at the moment. And as I said, the new Dundas Park, that's the name of their pitch, is 2,600 is the capacity. Notable past players in the club were Per Bartman. He was a Danish international in 1978. He was a past pupil of theirs, so to speak. Billy
Right.
Neal, a Scottish player.
Okay.
Billy Neal played with Millwall for a long, long time as well, but he was a Bonnie Rig Rose player. And Sean Connery, 007 himself, played junior soccer with Bonnie Rig Rose. So there you are now. That there's something you didn't know.
Well, there you go, isn't it?
I think I was just there's some very funny quotes. You can look it up, and if you have time, whoever watching this, you can look it up. There's some very funny quotes about the club, and they have 8 sponsors, they're all local sponsors for the club, you know. And like most junior soccer clubs, I mean, they do struggle, you know, because the money, despite what people say, the money does not filter down to grassroots soccer as much as it should. When you look at Man City, Liverpool, look at their income, look at their earning power, and when you look at the clubs down in even in the second division, there's supposed to be a filter down, trickle down cash to help to develop players. I'd like to know how much goes down there, you know. And the same in Scotland as the club we're putting the spotlight on tonight, the Spanish Rose. But I mean, there you go. So now, as I said, Sports User Program and their media.tv. Tell all your friends about us. Press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel. We had the continuation over the weekend of the Six Nations, women's Six Nations in rugby. And Italy came to Ireland and beat them 27-21. France beat Scotland in a very tight game, 15-5. And England beat Wales 46-10. So as we suspected, as we said beforehand, it's between England and France, the
Yeah.
women's 16s, because the other teams are amateur to semi-professional. So, you know, it's an imbalance, but that's it. They get there. We had the United Rugby Championship continuing over the weekend, and Connacht went over to Benetton and lost 18-14. The Stormers beat Ulster 13-7. And Munster had a very hard-earned win at home in Thomond Park to Cardiff 2015. Leinster also won. I forgot to write down their score. But did you see any of the Women's Six Nations, Derwynne?
No, I can't bring myself to watch it, to be honest. It's not about being sexist or anything like that, but I mean, England playing Wales, England playing. I mean, you might watch England France because
it's a match. Yeah. Yes, yeah. I get where you're coming from. It's just like.
I mean, when you watch all the others, it's like I'd rather go down the park and watch some kids play. To be honest.
Yeah, it's pedestrian, but we wish them well anyway. And with the continued advancement of the standard should come up a bit. Over the weekend, we had. Did you ever see Nancy Lopez playing?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, I've watched Nancy Lopez.
I was looking up a lot on her career. I wasn't that familiar with it, but she was a great character as well, a fantastic character,
Yeah, she was.
Didn't take herself too serious and was able to cut it with anybody, chat wise, men or women. But over the week,
she was the female Lee Trevino.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's what she was.
And I was looking for a contact number or contact email for her, but I sent off one in hope anyway. There you go. You never know if she might be in good humor when she reads it. And, over the weekend, we had the Indian Open in the DP World Tour. Your man stepped down, did last week, Keith Pelly, did he? Not Keith Pelly, is it?
Yeah, Keith Pelly. Yeah, well, he's moved on. Yeah, he's he's hoping to get some tie-up with...
Is he going to live?
With the Saudi PPI or whatever it is, PPR or whatever. The
PIF, yeah. Well, the Indian Open golf was on DP World Tour. Kita Nakajima from Japan won it at -17. His first two rounds were 265s, a 68 and a 73. But some of the scoring over the weekend was astonishing to me, both men and women. The great
I'm not
white.
Sure if Nakajima.
Huh?
I'm not sure if Nakajima's related to Tommy Nakajima. He might be a nephew or a grand.
Oh, there you go now. I never thought it. There you go now. He could be.
Yeah, I think there's a link there. I know Nakajima's probably like Smith or O'Donnell in Ireland, but I mean,
yeah.
But I was thinking earlier on today, looking at it, thinking, I wonder if he is related to Tommy Nakajima.
We'll find out for you. We'll let you know next week, lads. And he won the Indian Open. One golfer who was touted as a great white hope there a couple of years back was Matteo Manassero, as you know, from Italy. He never quite reached the heights of what was expected of him, but he finished at -12, a good high finish, and he's a good few top tens this year. So 65, 68,
he won a couple of weeks ago, didn't he? Manassero won a few weeks ago, didn't he?
He won. Did he win? I think he did win. Did he? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he did. No, I'm sure he won somewhere.
I was watching the Houston Open. Did you watch the Houston Open at all?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that.
And Scotty Scheffler he missed a very easy birdie. He's
some player, that Stefan Jaeger, though.
Stefan Jaeger, he's 135th start, 34 years of age, and he won the Houston Open 69, a pair of 66s and 67, and he got $1.638 million for his troubles. And that's a nice bit of money, but he got a lot of exemptions as well as a result of winning the Houston Open. So, I mean, you could see...
Masters as well,
yeah, he gets into the Masters as well. He's playing well. Scheffler, I see, is he's 92 for the Masters. Scotty Scheffler. That's no prize for the golf tournament,
I tell you, it's a good bet to have. It's Matt Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I have a liking for Bryson DeChambeau.
I'm not sure he's a good enough putt around there. I know he's won the Masters, but
Yeah.
I'm not
Anyway,
sure.
the reason I mentioned Nancy Lopez was the Ford Championship was held in the States in the Ladies Tour, and Nelly Corda had a magnificent her third win in a row. Now Nancy Lopez holds the record. She won 5 tournaments in a row one time. She's the record. But Nelly Corda in today's thing, she's won her third tournament in a row with 66, 68, 69, and a 65. But I just, Leona Maguire from Ireland was in the field as well. All the top lady golfers, nearly all of them, 99% of them were in the field. And Leona Maguire finished at minus 10 shots behind. But Nelly won $377,000 for her feat, and Leonie got in the top 32, got $8,000. But she's some golfer. I mean, Brooke Henderson. Lexi Thompson. Lexi Thompson was third or fourth. Lexi Thompson had a very good tournament, and Lydia Ko, Megan Kang. They were all in it. All the Carlito Saganda, who had a terrific.
But that Corda family is some family of sports people there.
Oh, true. I remember Peter Corda when he was playing tennis. Peter Corda.
Yeah.
I
think the mum wasn't she a skier or something?
She was, yeah. Olympic standard,
like
yeah.
Like a proper skier.
And her brother, Nelly's brother, Sebastian Corda, is a handy tennis player. I think he's in the top 20 of the men's tennis.
Yeah, and there's the youngest son is also I think he's ranked in the top 10 in the juniors.
Yeah. I said, you know what I mean? Really, I tell you.
Yeah.
It's some family, all right.
Can't be telling me that's not in the genes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt,
Yeah.
The New South Wales Open was on as well in the ladies tournament. Marie Uribe from Cuba won that at minus 14, but Bronte Law lost it, she finished at minus 13, but that was a 3-round tournament in New South Wales, and that I saw a bit of that as well. They carried them all now on the Golf Channel as well, which is handy. But you'd have to stay up. But of course, we lost an hour over the weekend. We had to put our clocks forward an hour,
Yeah.
Last Sunday night, which was a drag, really. But getting back to the soccer, Derwynne, what about Manchester United next year? Will we have the same after this? Will they have a new manager?
I think they will. I don't think Radcliffe is going to mess around, is he? I think he wants results.
He wants results, but I think changing the manager won't give him results.
But I think you've got that David Brailsford. You've got this other lad going in. You've got this other one coming in as director of sport and you've got another one coming in as chair, not CEO or whatever it is. But I don't think the people he's bringing in. I mean, if you look at what Brailsford did for cycling, he turned cycling on its head, didn't he?
Well, some would say he destroyed it. I mean, where's Team Sky?
Yeah, but if you think about the Olympics and everything else, and you've only got to look at that GB record in the Olympics in the velodrome.
I look at all of those now with the jaundiced eye, I must say. When you look at the shenanigans and went on to Team Sky in last cycling, I just wonder, is there are all of those victories with all those medals, Olympic medals, are they all tainted or can be questioned?
Yeah, I mean, if you've only got to listen to if you listen to what's his name, Bradley Higgins, is it?
Bradley Wiggins,
the one who was, Wiggins. That's it.
Bradley Wiggins. It's amazing how many cyclists were taking what's the word? Oh, medicine for their medicine for their asthma. It's amazing how many cyclists had asthma. Their asthma
yeah,
medicine all of a sudden, And look, to me, that whole era was very, very poor. Very poor.
yeah. I mean,
Just
there's. I mean, Lance Armstrong's kind of queered the patch, didn't he? But it was all going on before that. I mean, you had blood transfusions going on
all you
in
had.
their room.
Yeah.
I mean, it was when it was. We talk about the Russian Federation and all the rest of it. I mean, it was just a laboratory for testing, wasn't it?
I know you're old enough to probably to remember the wonderful Lassie Vernon.
Yeah, yeah.
He took blood transfusion.
Yeah. Well, the Russian team lost 2 or 3 riders, didn't they? Who died in their rooms having blood transfusions.
They did, yeah. They did, yeah. They did.
I mean, we all want to win, but I don't know if I want to risk my life winning. I mean, to win.
But there's a huge amount of money involved in some of those teams. I mean, so you're talking about being a millionaire and doing well.
I think we don't really. I'm going to include Ireland in, but as Britain and Ireland, I don't.
Oops. SportsView is a program here with Derwynne, Honan and myself, and we're here every Monday night. One of our regulars is taking a night off. He didn't get permission; he just took it. He didn't get your permission, Derwynne. Did he to get a night off tonight?
I think next week it's a yellow card. I think.
I think it'll be. We'll get VAR to have a look into it.
I think we'll just yellow card him.
Yeah, we're talking about cycling there, but
we still got to talk to him about.
Yeah. We'll have a quiet word.
Talk to Joe about, Boris Johnson wearing Grimsby Town bobble hats.
Yeah. And next week, I'll contact our fellow pundits over in Bonnie Rose Football Club during the week and see can we get a chat to one of them. To be nice to hear the perspective of a club that has survived for so long. And like many clubs in soccer in Britain and here in Ireland, we've a flourishing junior soccer situation here in Limerick and Clare where I live, and so you have, and when I go around to see some of those matches, you see the same faces all the time in those clubs, who are looking after the players, looking after the boots, looking after the shirts, looking after the club. It's just pure service, pure
enthusiasm.
It is, for the. I mean, and I know by them they have the infectious attitude towards the club, towards the players, towards the game, and that rubs off on the players as well, because I mean, it does without a shadow of a doubt, We're still looking for a manager here in Ireland for the Republic of Ireland soccer team, and I know when they're going to for the men's team. The women will be talking out soon now in their European qualifying group, and they've been drawn against France, England, and Sweden, and the Republic of Ireland in the women's qualifying group. So, if you call that a challenging group, well, then I'll tell you that is some serious business for a team like Ireland. I know they qualified for the World Cup, the last World Cup. The Republic did.
Yeah, that's a tough group, isn't it?
That's a group of death,
Yeah.
Every point will matter. I know they all matter, but every point in this, from Ireland's point of view, I think looking at it, I was looking at the table. I was saying if they could draw their home games, draw them all, no matter what the score is. I mean, that's 3 points, from three matches. They have 6 matches.
Yeah, that's some tough games. I mean, Sweden are good.
Oh, England are good. Yeah. England are good. England would be the best team in it, and France are good as well on their day, and so it's going to be very tough for Ireland.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're showing them live here on our thing. But we wish them well. Well, Katie McCabe is still playing. There's a lot of good. They have a lot of good players, solid players. And I saw we have a player back who played under 21 for England. She's declared for Ireland, and she's a very good player as well. I think she plays with Chelsea, as far as I know. I'm not too sure.
Is that is that rule again? I flew over Ireland once, so I qualify.
Yeah, you landed in Shannon. I'm a witness to that, and that's it. I shook your hand, and I welcomed you to Ireland. So you're okay. You can declare for Ireland. Now, we had the Irish National people in horse racing yesterday, and I was on my way to Dublin to collect my friend from coming back from Glasgow. But I had a bet on before I left. €2.50 each way on any second now, and he was just pipped on the line. He was 14-1. Anyway, so a bit of fun.
I had 50p each way on Yeah Man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he was fancied.
Yeah.
He was fancied. He was.
JJ Slevin. That was his
John
second
winner.
That was his second Grand National, wasn't it? Or Irish National.
Yeah. And any second now, if he had won it, would have been only the third or fourth 12-year-old to win the Irish National.
They were only little jumps, though, weren't they?
Huh?
They're little fences compared to Aintree, aren't they?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't compare the Irish National to Aintree because the fences aren't as big. They wouldn't be as big. But the ground and the course itself would be. Brown Lad was the last 12-year-old to win it in Ireland. Wow. Brown Lad. Yeah, he was the last fella to win it.
It was interesting because I watched it on the telly.
Yeah.
And they were saying that a lot of winners for the Irish National are lightweight horses. That the big heavy ones don't seem to can last the course.
No, and it's stamina sapping. Yeah, run out of but normally the Irish National is not on till after the Adrian National, but the Irish National is always run on Easter Monday, and this year Easter came at the very early April, so it hints to people are confused. But the International is on the 15th, I think. Is the 15th of April? I know it is on.
Yeah, it's two Saturdays time.
2 weeks time, yeah, and I mean the amount of money that's bet on the Grand National is astonishing. It's eye-watering. Every horse in the Grand National, and of course the field now is confined to 40 runners. I remember.
Go on.
I remember 1967 when Fine Avon won it at 100-1. Now there was about 50, 55 horses in it then, but they had huge pile-ups in 2 or 3 fences, the outshare, and so Fine Avon was so far back. He was so far back in the field that it didn't reach him all the pile, and all he had to do was walk through the gap in the 4 or 5 fences, run through it like.
Do it's really interesting you say that because I played golf a few years ago with Ruby Walsh.
Yeah.
And Ruby Walsh said that the second time round Aintree, you aimed at the fences that were being destroyed. You aimed at the gaps in the fences.
Yeah.
Because they were smaller.
Lower. Yeah.
And he was saying, I remember asking him about the canal turn.
Yeah.
And his feeling on it was he went as far right and jumped across.
All right. Yeah. So he'd be
cut the corner.
He'd be straight ahead again. Yeah.
And he said the only trouble with all of that was that you had to be in a certain position because you'd then land in front of other horses that had come up the inside of that jump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very, very, very difficult. Very difficult.
But they've made those fences smaller now, haven't they?
They have, because there are so many horses being killed. There was a few horses killed in Cheltenham this year, as well. Yeah. But in the Grand National, of course, Ruby won it. Ruby Walsh won it with Bobby Joe a couple of years back.
There's another thing on YouTube that you should watch, and that everybody else should try and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Harvey Smith, the show jumper?
I remember Harvey Smith and the two fingers. Yeah.
So Harvey Smith, I think 1 year had won the biggest jump at Wembley in the big Horse of the Year show.
But the wall, the famous wall.
Yeah, the wall. And they got him to ride after the Grand National with one of the proper, national hunt jockeys.
Yeah.
And he was petrified.
Go yeah.
He was mic'd up. It's probably on YouTube. Harvey Smith riding the Grand National.
And they televised it and all.
Yeah, they filmed the whole race with him and another horse. I can't remember the name of the jockey, but it was a proper jockey.
Yeah.
It might have been Bob Champion or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was mic'd up, and he was like literally like taking off and going, Jesus, and landing like swearing and like shit. And it's one of those that when like now, if I went and watched it again, I'd download it and keep it, because it's one of those you'd keep on your iPad for a flight on a plane somewhere that you'd go, that'll kill.
You must hand it to national hunt, to all jockeys, but particularly to national hunt jockeys. They have to have nerves of steel, to ride a race like that.
Oh, I mean, I've been to Aintree and I've stood next to the chair and all the rest of it, and they are massive. And I know horses are massive, and I know, I get all the comparisons, but I'm not being funny. But you do take off, and you're hoping this horse lands. He knows how to land, but let alone.
Well, you're hoping that
and they slip and slide,
and you'll be hoping that he'll land the right way up. As the jockey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
I mean, they are massive.
We're on air tonight on the 2nd of April, and there's a few Premiership matches being played as we are on air. And Nottingham Forest are gone 3-0 up in Fulham, which is they're playing at home. And in Forest,
Fulham are so inconsistent, aren't they?
Yeah, they can go out and beat Man City or someone, and then I don't know. Newcastle are 1-0 up in Everton, and Crystal Palace and Bournemouth are 0-0, and Burnley are 1-0 up on Wolves. And Tottenham are just gone ahead against West Ham. Tottenham Hotspur.
Oh, there's a game and a
half. Johnson has scored for them. Johnson.
He was a good buy. He was, wasn't
he? Solid.
Tottenham did well buying him.
Where are they in the table?
They're about 7th or 8th, aren't they?
They're 5th. They're 5th.
Around.
They're 5th, and if they win tonight, they'll go up to 4th.
Yeah.
Villa and Tottenham have 59 points each. Liverpool have 67. Arsenal have 65. Man City have 64. And Aston Villa have 59. And Tottenham have 59. Man United then have 48. They're at 6th. And Newcastle have 46. So they'll just go above United tonight if they'll hold that lead. And Man United be down to 7. But I still think they're in a healthy position in the table, as a club. The turmoil in the club, About half that team should have to be moved on, Derwynne, if you want to be realistic.
Oh, yeah, there'll be mass changes, won't there? That'll be a whole nother.
There has to be huge.
That's why I think Ten Hag will go, and it'll be like a new broom coming in there.
The point is, the point I'd want to make about him is they did not, in my opinion, give David Moyes enough time as a club.
No, he was. I know Ferguson talked him into it and chose him and told United that Moyes is your man. But Moyes, I don't think Moyes was very clever there.
No,
I think if he'd come in 2 managers after at Man United, then he had a chance. Following Ferguson is not a good career move, is it?
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, when you put that when you frame it that way, of course, yeah, any manager, any manager coming in after Ferguson
Yeah.
would be
Well,
totally
you,
totally challenged.
you've
You
only got
know?
to look at Arsenal. You know what happened to Arsenal after Wenger went?
Yeah,
You know, they hit a slide. They went through managers, didn't they?
they did.
And
They
it
did.
and you know, you've only got to look at, you know, I'm not saying Liverpool so much, but if you look at United and look at Arsenal, you had two people there who ran the business and the club. Really,
Well,
they
you
were
had.
nearly
You're right.
as big as the clubs.
Well, Ferguson ran United and Wenger ran Arsenal. There's no
Yeah,
doubt in my mind about it because
yeah,
if Wenger wanted a player, all he had to do was say it,
yeah.
and it would be done. You cannot say the same in United today. I mean, if Ten Hag wanted a player, which he did want a player last year, a few players, remember?
Yeah.
They didn't go after them. So the
I,
writing.
I, it's like there, like I just said. I think you look at Ferguson, and they were to me they were like as big as the football clubs themselves. Whereas anybody else following in, you know, Moyes was on a hide into nothing, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, and I think that for a club like Man United, I don't think they'll be able to sustain another few years like this in the Dolphins, not competing at the highest level. And I think they'll
Yeah.
have to,
If
you
they
know,
don't get Europe this year, then
they won't.
there'll be issues there, won't there?
They will. But apart from that, well, it'll give them time to. Well, you must. On the other hand, in Darwin, the market for a top class manager to come into Man United. I mean,
You've got to ask the question, as in name one who might want to go to Man United.
even in the English Premiership here, I thought they should have gone for your man way before Ten Hag, before Newcastle went for him. That was your man that's with Newcastle. What's
Eddie
his name?
Howe.
Eddie Howe. He knows English soccer. He knows it inside out, you know? And I think Eddie Howe would have done a far better job than Ten Hag would.
I just you look around. I thought Mourinho would do all right at United,
Hmm.
but
I didn't,
he did.
no, no. Mourinho didn't have the players.
No, he didn't. And it's like we always say every week on there. You know, I'd like to see Guardiola go to Burnley or go to
Go to Luton Town and
Luton,
keep them
and
up.
yeah, put Luton in Europe. Now let's prove yourself.
Yeah.
Because I honest, and I'm not. It's not being disrespectful to the guy, but you know, I'm sure we could all argue. We're all old enough to go. You know, name you probably can name 3/4 of the 1970 Brazil team, but could you
You
name
could.
the manager?
No,
No, you wouldn't know the manager if he knocked on your door.
no, you would not.
And was that because he didn't need to manage because he's got 15 of the best players in the world?
That's right, yeah.
And like to me, does Guardiola really need to manage that the best team that City can put out? Does he really need to manage them?
Not at this stage, no.
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 You can't be telling me the strongest 11 at Man City needs someone to tell them how to play football.
The strongest 11 fully fit in Man City would beat most European teams.
I think they'd beat most international teams.
Yes, I mean international teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
They won't.
There isn't a I don't care who they are. Put that up against the best West German team, the best Italian team of the 80s and 90s. And I think City would win. But I don't think it's necessarily down to Guardiola. And
Well,
that's
no,
not knocking him.
no. The club had, as we know, unlimited resources.
Yeah.
They could, if they wanted a goalkeeper, it didn't really matter how much he was or where he was, they got it.
Let's
And
face it, I'm sure they could go out and buy Mbappe. They could have had Neymar. I bet there isn't a player out there that they could not get hold of.
no, and I think that something like that has to happen with Man United. They have to go out and buy 5 or 6, a half a team, and forget about the money, the price, if they want success.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
I
you've
think that's
only let's face it. I mean, is Grealish really a Man City quality player? Not really. He's a squad member, a rotation member. He's not. He's not
he's not
Silva. He's
he's
not
not
De Bruyne. Foden. He's not
he's not
Foden. Is
he's not for, he's not first choice.
no. He's making numbers up guy, isn't he? And I don't mean that
And
being
no, he's a good
disrespectful to
he's a
Grealish.
good player. He's a good squad player. You know, he wouldn't be in the first 11. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, he wouldn't make if Guardiola stood there and said, right, like you just said, I've got every single player in the squad fit. Grealish doesn't make the first 11. I don't think he even makes the subs bench.
Hmm. No, there's some fabulous players. You must hand it to them. You know, there's some very good players. But you have the
Oh,
position in England. Yeah.
jeepers creepers. I mean, like I just said to you, I mean, you look at, if you take Luton for argument's sake, and they pull off what's his name, Chung, is it Chung?
Well, no, German,
From
since we were
Luton,
speaking
Chung.
last, West Ham have levelled against Tottenham, and Wolves have levelled against Burnley, and Fulham have got a goal back in Forest, and
That's
Newcastle
a
still won.
that's a that's a big London derby. That match, Spurs, West Ham.
Yeah, it's a home to West Ham. You know,
That's
it's home to West.
there's a big rivalry between West Ham and Spurs.
Zuma has scored equaliser
Has he?
for
He's an
West Ham.
interesting player. He never
Yes.
really made it. See, did he?
You see the fellow involved with the cat? Do you remember that time when he kicked the cat? It was all over the internet.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Was that
yeah.
him? Was it?
He half volleyed the cat, didn't he, across the living room?
Yeah. And Wrexham are losing 1-0. Wrexham are losing 1-0 to Doncaster. I mean, that will affect them. That will affect the table if it stays like that, you know. And anyway, that's the man. But anyway, we won't hold that against him.
No,
He
it's only
paid
a cat.
he paid he paid a heavy price. He paid a heavy price. At least
They got 9 lives. They cats.
we don't eat cats in on this side of the world anyway, so they're safe. They're dead safe, you know. I see they've outlawed dog meat in South Korea. So if you're going on holidays, you can bring your pet now. There's no problem.
You're not going to lose Lassie anymore.
South Korea, you don't come back with an empty basket. I know we got onto that, you know. Oh yeah, there's our friend Nelly Carter with her trophy, her third tournament in a row this weekend, and she gave a fantastic interview, you know, and I don't think she probably has a sense of history, all right, but as I said, I looked up as a result of her tournament when they said, well, the record is held by Nancy Lopez. I looked up her profile then and looked up her stuff, you know, and she was a phenomenal golfer, you know,
Oh, she
phenomenal.
was, yeah.
But I think one of the most underrated one of those is Laura Davis, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Laura Davis has an outstanding long career, you know,
Yeah.
and she plays with a freedom that doesn't inhibit her. That's why I think she has a long career, you know.
She's a great girl too.
Huh? What part of
she's a great girl.
Where's she from?
So she's from Chertsey. She lived just down the road from Fox Hills. She was.
She's a Londoner. She's a Londoner.
Surrey girl, yeah.
Sorry. Oh, because
she's from West Byfleet. She was a junior at West Byfleet Golf Club, and hell of a character. She's a great girl. I've played a bit of golf with Laura Davis.
Yeah, she'd be great company.
Oh, she loves the horses, loves the cars, and if she sees a fruit machine, that's it. That's it. Done.
That's all right.
Oh God, she'll feed a fruit machine till it doesn't need any more coins.
It's just, I don't know, it's just so competitive. Yeah.
Oh, she's just a great girl.
I love her. I love it listening to her when she's on commentary in the Golf Channel. You know.
Yeah.
And the lads with her, I did. They really enjoy her. She's
real. I mean, she
is, yeah. And she'll say, if she's one of the few commentators that'll say that was a terrible shot, you know, that was an awful shot, you know. I don't know what happened there, and then they go back. Oh, I can see now her shoulder, you know, she can see after the drive. She say straight, oh yeah, she went too forward in her left foot or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
but you'll never hear that. You'll never hear Peter Alice saying that was a terrible shot. Did you ever hear him saying that?
No, not really. No,
he never does. Why is that?
Some of that is probably doesn't want to criticize another player, or I mean, there are some great Peter Alice stories, though, Pat. I mean, there are Peter Alice.
Where is he from?
Great. Peter Alice was from Bournemouth.
Bournemouth.
Yeah, he grew up at Bournemouth. His dad was the pro at Ferndown Golf Club.
Oh.
And then his dad went to Broadstone, and Peter Alice was at Broadstone. And then he moved. He had a bit of an issue at Broadstone when he was down there, and had to move to Leeds. And he went to Moortown Golf Club in Leeds. And yeah, that's where he met his second or third wife, something like that.
Yeah,
Jackie, yeah. A lovely lady.
Yeah,
I've got to tell you the story about Alice, right? Peter Alice is commentating with Ken Brown.
Well, Ken Brown is I like Ken Brown, actually.
And they have this sort of lull in playing, and
yeah, Denny have to fill in.
Says something, and Peter Alice turns around and says, he goes, "I got aroused, Ken." And Ken starts laughing, and he turns around and says, "What?" He says, "Yeah, I got aroused. 7 letters, not bad for a boy with no education."
With Peter Alice, is he still commentating?
No, he passed away probably about 3 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, he passed away.
Yeah, God, he had a wonderful voice.
He was big friends with my coach, Bernard Hunt.
Yeah, I remember Bernard Hunt.
Yeah, big friends, Bernard Hunt and Alice. Alice would phone the golf club, and sometimes you'd pick up the phone and you'd go, you know, Fox Hills Country Club, you know, how can I help you? Is that young Honan? It'd be, yes, it is, Mr. Alice. How are you? Very good. I do like when you call me Mr. Alice. Well, just a bit of respect there, sir, you know. And he would go, "Where is Bernard?"
Yeah.
He's out hitting balls. He's practicing. Practicing? Why? What
Why?
for? Well, he likes to hit balls and practice. Oh, my God. Does he not realise how old he is now? Yeah, he does, but he still likes to compete. And he was like, "Oh, Would you tell him that I called, would you? And yeah, of course. And he'd come in from practicing, and you'd say, "Oh, Peter Alice phone. Can you give him a call back?" And he'd go, oh, "What's he want? I don't know. He queried why you were out hitting balls. What did you tell him? Well, you're still competitive and you like to hit balls.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good answer. Good." And honestly, I remember being at the PGA Championships when I was working for Volvo, when I was tournament director.
Yeah.
At PGA Championships, and Alex Hay saw me. That's when Alex Hay and him used to commentate.
Yeah.
Alex Hay turned around to me and said, "Have you seen Alice?" I said, "He's in hospitality with one of the bosses from Volvo." And he said, "We're on air in 3 minutes. Can you go and tell him?" Yeah. So I go in the hospitality area and I walk up to him and I said, "Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Alice, but you're wanted. Alex Hay is chasing you. You're on air in 3 minutes." And he'd look out the window and he went, "It's raining." I said, "Yeah, I know it's raining. It's not that bad." He goes, "Have you got an umbrella?" "No, I can't go out in the rain doing this. Is Kashmir." And tell Alice I will be there when it stops raining because I'm wearing my Kashmir smutter today.
And I'm not going out in the rain.
And you'd literally go, "Do you want me to really tell him that?" "Yeah, tell him that." So I would come out and I'd get on a buggy and I'd drive down to the BBC TV compound. And Alex Hay was one of my instructors when I went through PGA school.
Yes.
So I said, Mr. Hay, Peter says he's got Kashmir on. He can't come out in the rain. And he said, "Oh, Jesus, go and get an umbrella or something. Tell him he's got to come here. We're on air in a minute." And you'd drive back up and he'd be waiting by the door of hospitality. And he'd go, "Ah, young Honan, take me to Alice. Take me to Hay. Okay, jump in the buggy." And he'd run down and he would be, there was, oh God, Jonathan something. He was BBC outside broadcasting producer. He was a big wig in the BBC. He'd be standing at the doorway of a truck with his headphones ready to put on Alice's head, and they would be like live within about 10 seconds. And Hay would say something stupid like, "We've just been joined by God himself. Peter Alice has just turned up." And Alice would turn around and go, "I was having a lovely lunch, Alex, and you totally interrupted. Right, who's playing now?" And they would just go off and start doing their commentary. But the Carol Vorderman thing with Peter Alice is one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Go in.
I watched that Carol Vorderman. My God, she's a pretty girl, isn't she? And there was a pause, and he says, "Ken, I got aroused." And Ken Brown doesn't know what to say. And then he turns around and goes, "Not bad for a boy with no education. 7 letters, you know that is."
Did he ever play pro-am with Carol Vorderman?
Oh, I don't know, but I play a bit of golf with one of his sons.
Yeah.
Henry and Simon used to work for the tour, and I'm big mates with Gary Alice, who was the pro down at Trevose for a long time down in Cornwall.
Yes.
Gary was from the first wife, and Gary Alice has got Peter's voice. I mean, it's if you shut your eyes, you'd think it was him.
And does he do any commentating or anything?
No, but Gary Alice is just a lovely, lovely bloke.
Yeah, nice bloke indeed. Well, Peter was an institution.
God, he was a character.
Yeah, and I suppose when you look at people like that, they'd always have to have a sense of humor because with the stresses and the strains and the traveling and the deadlines and all of that, you'd have to have a sense of humor to survive a long career like that, like Peter Alice had.
Yeah, I mean, he was. I mean, he was a good player too, in his heyday, Peter Alice.
Yeah.
And I think everybody. There's probably a certain generation doesn't really understand that Peter Alice was a Ryder Cup player. Like I'm talking like 6-7 times.
Yeah, he was. But people,
He was a player.
yeah, there was
But I think most golfers remember him as a commentator, not as a golfer.
They would, yeah, I suppose, yeah, they would today anyway, because it was a time in the Ryder Cup when people weren't exactly queuing up to play in the Ryder Cup, as we spoke about a few times, it had lost its luster for a while, because as the British and Irish team as it was then, they couldn't win, and so people lost interest,
Well, 77 was the last one that was just GB and Ireland.
Yeah.
And that Bernard Hunt was the captain that year. And then 79 was when Europe came in. And the reason why Europe came into the Ryder Cup was there was a batch of Spanish players. So you had Pinero, Antonio Garrido, Jose Maria Canizares. There was 4 Spanish lads. Canizares, Antonio Garrido, Manuel Pinero, and Seve.
Yeah.
And
all good golfers.
Great golfers, but the big turning point was Nicholas had to basically press gang players into playing in that 79 Ryder Cup, because on the 77 flight back from the UK, most of the American teams said, "I'm not playing anymore. This is silly. We get cold, the food's rubbish, the courses aren't great, we don't get paid. I'm not playing in the Ryder Cup anymore." No, they did. And Nicholas spoke to Lord Derby and said, "This next Ryder Cup could be the last Ryder Cup. The American players don't want to play. They have no interest in playing. It's not a competition anymore, and they don't want to play. They'd rather stay and play in Houston or
it lost its luster. Yeah,
earn money." And Lord Derby was the one who actually sort of persuaded the tour to invite European players into it. And that 79 team, they played at Greenbrier, I think it was, in Virginia. And it gave the Americans a bit of a scare. They didn't win or anything. The Americans won it. But there was a moment where, suddenly there's a team here.
Yeah.
And then 81, it changed again. 83 at West Palm Beach is when it really, because they lost. The Americans won by half a point. And there's great anecdotes Faldo and I sat in the room in Florida at PGA National in West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And Seve walked in the room, fist yippee-yi-ying all over the place.
Yeah.
And no one could understand why he was like that. And they literally said, "What? Why are you doing this?" And we lost. And he went, "No, we didn't. We got to half a point behind these Americans. We can win this. When this comes back to Europe, we can win this now. Come on, we can win this." And that was when 85 was when they won at the Belfry.
Christy O'Connor Jr. was in that team.
Yeah, hit 2-iron across. Here's an interesting one for you, Pat. Driver 2-iron into the 18th at the Belfry. Yeah, they're now hitting driver 8-iron into that hole off the same tees.
Go here.
Yeah. He hit a full out 2-iron. Christy O'Connor Jr. hit a full ripped 2-iron and got it halfway up the middle of the green.
Yeah.
They're now hitting the same hole. Nothing's changed other than equipment. And they're hitting 8-irons into that hole now.
My goodness me. I remember Christy Jr., yeah, a lovely golfer. And of course, he was the club professional out beside me in Shannon Golf Club for years, you know. Anyway, it's the Ryder Cup. For all of you golf fans, Derwyn's outside bet, each way bet for the Masters is Matt Fitzpatrick. But we'll be talking next week more about that because the field we should have a more finished look to the field next Monday when we come on here. So it'll be a Masters special. We might have a little prize for our viewers. Might a little prize for our viewers. It'll be a golfing question, and it will be on it, and you can email us in or text us in, whatever you like.
They could have a golf
And
lesson. There you go, golf
well,
lesson as a prize.
I have some spare photographs of myself, so I can give them away, you know, and sign the back of them. On this edition of SportsView, and thank you, Derwyn, for your company. Well worth to listen afterwards, as it'll be up on all our platforms afterwards. So from Derwyn Honan, from myself, Pat Barry, until we meet again, good sporting and take care, Derwyn, and God bless.